Hey, this is Arthur Robinson Jr. I am the creator of PowerfulInterviews.com. I am the creator of AudioSecretsTrainingEvent.com. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this phenomenal video. I want to say to each and every one of you that is watching me right now, happy holidays. In this interview, you're going to experience life-changing information that you will not find anywhere else. I have secured an incredible interview with a great friend of mine. She's a mega millionaire. Her name is Dana Thomas. Dana Thomas is an intellectual entertainment attorney. And in this interview, Dana Thomas, she breaks down layman's terms about what is the difference between a design utility patent versus a provisional patent. Also in this interview, Dana Thomas, she breaks down layman's terms about how you can protect your logo. Also in this interview, Dana Thomas, she breaks down layman's terms about what's the difference between copyrights, patents, trademarks. Also in this interview, Dana Thomas, she breaks down layman's terms about how you have to take action if you want to accumulate massive wealth and much, much more. So remember, this is not BS information. The right information will change your situation. Wealthy people take advice from other wealthy people, and unfortunately, broke people take advice from broke people. But I love what the Hector millionaire, actually, his net worth is over $80 million. His name is Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki is the best-selling author of his phenomenal business book, which is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And Robert Kiyosaki said, experience makes you smarter. Are you hearing me? So if you want to take your business to the next level, you need to immerse yourself in outside-the-box knowledge and follow the blueprints that millionaires and hectomillionaires and billionaires do. That way, that knowledge, and by you taking massive action, it will propel you to the next level. So right about now, go get your pen and your pad, sit back and relax, and write down some notes. In this interview that I'm going to reveal to each and every one of you with my great friend, best-selling author, the mega millionaire, Dana Thomas. This interview, it will change your life. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Happy holidays. So, check it out. I'd like to welcome the one, the only, the beautiful Dana Thomas to the show.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to share some education and inspiration with your viewers and your listeners. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Dana, for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the listeners worldwide about intellectual property and about licensing. I gladly appreciate it.
Of course. I'm glad to be a part of this.
To everyone that's listening, I highly recommend go and get your pen and your pad right now. My great friend Dana Thomas is going to break down layman's terms about licensing and about intellectual property and about ownership of your logos. Is that correct, Dana?
That is correct. That is correct.
Now, what I'd like to know, and can you explain to the listeners in layman's terms, who is the beautiful Dana Thomas? How long you been in your powerful industry, and what is your expertise?
Absolutely. So again, Dana Thomas, I am an entertainment and entrepreneurship attorney. I am based in Atlanta, Georgia. However, I service entertainers and entrepreneurs throughout the entire country. Originally, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Always knew that I wanted to be a lawyer since I was younger. The entertainment comes to pass because when I was younger, I was actually the entertainer. So I was a professional dancer. I sang in choirs. I auditioned on Broadway, did all those fun things. And when I got older, I started to be more interested in business and law. So I figured out a way to marry the two, and that's how entertainment law came about. And when I was in law school, started to learn more about entrepreneurship. I got quite a bit of internships at small firms. I worked at a big firm, medium firms. And through those experiences, I realized that working for someone wasn't for me. And so I made the tough decision, but a very happy decision for me, that I wasn't going to apply to any jobs while I was in law school, any post-graduation jobs, because I had committed to being an entrepreneur and starting my very own law firm right out of law school. So that is exactly what I did. So it's a bunch of planning, a lot of prayer, a lot of planning, a lot of preparation. But this is where I am now, and I could not have been happier. So on the entertainment side of my practice, I help artists, authors, actors, executives in the industry. I help them navigate the entertainment industry, mainly with transactions, deals, different things like that. So if it's a record deal, or it might be producers or different things like that, production of films. And on the entrepreneurship side, mainly I work with new entrepreneurs who have recently started their business but may not have set everything up exactly how they're supposed to. So I work with entrepreneurs to make sure that they have a solid business and legal foundation. I break everything down for them. I make sure that the legal process isn't intimidating, because I know that once you hear law or lawyers or legal, that sounds expensive and intimidating, but it's my job and my goal to make sure that entrepreneurs, take the legal process seriously and are not intimidated by it, but empowered by it. And I also help current entrepreneurs to build on what they've already started. So if it's partnerships, if it's doing deals, if it's licensing, helping them with those opportunities so that they are legally protected, making sure their brands are protected. I handle a lot of trademarks, copyrights, and different things like that. So there's a wealth of things that I do, but overall, I just love helping and serving passionate people. And for me, those are entertainers and entrepreneurs.
Now, you are a phenomenal entertainment attorney.
Thank you.
Do you work with a lot of professional athletes in your network?
Actually, athletes, I do not. But I will dispel that myth. Usually they group together sports and entertainment law because, they're closely related, but actually the law that applies to both can be pretty different. So working with athletes, it usually requires for the attorney to be some type of agent. Usually a sports attorney would be a sports agent as well, because they overlap. But I work mainly with entertainers in the music industry, fashion, film, and television.
Now, Dana, I know that you're really deep in entrepreneurism.
Yes.
Now, the word entrepreneur comes from entreprendre. That was invented back in the 15th century in France. There are two Latin words. The word entre means between, and the word prendre means take. And a gentleman by the name of John Baptist, 300 years later, he was a Frenchman, and now that word was actually invented through him, which is entrepreneur. And basically, entrepreneur means to undertake. So it means to take lower productivity and increase it into higher productivity. What does the word entrepreneur means to you?
You know what? Entrepreneur means so much to me and my life. Overall, it means being in control for me. I feel, as an entrepreneur, I feel like I have the ultimate control of my life, of my time, of how I invest my money, of where I allocate my resources, of achieving my goals. So being an entrepreneur to me truly means control, truly means happiness. It's really up to me as an entrepreneur for what I achieve in life. And I know for some people, that may be a scary thing, and some people feel the comfort of having a steady paycheck that they know is going to come from an employer. But for me, that scares me, because I need to have more control over my life, over the things that I achieve, over the people that I serve, and the way that I do this. So being an entrepreneur is an amazing feeling. It means control over my time, and it means control over how much money I can make, and it means just achieving my goals the way that I want to achieve them and in the manner and the time frame that I set for myself.
Wow. This is an incredible interview, and I appreciate you coming on my show today.
Of course.
Dana, explain to the listeners in layman's terms, from your own experience, what do millionaires and billionaires do on a consistent, regular basis that unfortunately broke entrepreneurs just don't do?
You know what? And I think about this all the time. Whenever I learn from millionaires and billionaires, and it might not be face-to-face, it might be videos, it might be Oprah, it might be conference calls or conferences, the one thing that seems to be the most consistent is your mindset. Is believing that you can achieve the things that people don't normally achieve. I believe, and a lot of those millionaires and billionaires that I listen to and learn from believe, whatever you think in your head whatever you think you can or cannot do is true. So if you think you can achieve something great, if you think that you can be amazing in entrepreneurship, if you think that you can create wonderful things in this world and serve people the way that you want to, if you believe that you can be a millionaire and set those goals for yourself, you can. But if you think that it's going to be too hard, and if you think that, because of your history or where your family came from or the obstacles that you've went through, that it's not for you or it's not feasible for you or you can't do it, then that's true too. It all matters and starts with what you can believe, and what you believe in your mind you can achieve, and putting everything behind that like if you already know it's yours. And that's something that's been consistent for very successful people.
Wow.
You have to go after it.
Dana, let's talk about delegation. Now, I know the minimum wage of a millionaire is around $524 an hour. So I always tell my listeners, what can you delegate for $524 an hour? Or they can actually go beyond that. What can you delegate that's within your current budget? How important it is for entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, and seminar leaders to delegate tasks out that they're not currently good at, so they can just focus on increasing their revenues in their businesses.
Absolutely. You know what's so funny is that delegation is probably one of the hardest things for people who are inherently entrepreneurs to do, but it's one of the most important things that they need to do. So essentially, when you're an entrepreneur, you just feel like you can do everything. If you're an entrepreneur at heart, your heart and soul has a calling for entrepreneurship. Usually those people do everything on their own. They usually don't really ask for that much help. They usually don't feel like there's anything that they can't do, which is a great thing. But when you actually take that leap into being an entrepreneur, you can't do it on your own. There is no such thing as a self-made millionaire.
That's true.
There is a team-made millionaire. It takes a team of people to make you a millionaire. It really does. And, of course, you have to serve those people as well, but delegating is so important. And the thing is, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to spend time doing and perfecting and educating yourself on the thing that is making you the money. So me as an attorney, I'm an entrepreneur and an attorney. But what makes me money at this point, of course, there's different things that I have my hands in, but for the most part with my law firm, what makes me money is serving my clients, doing contracts, going with my clients to meetings when they have deals on the table, different things like that. And so if I am spending hours of my day revising my website or trying to do my own accounting, that is taking time away from what is making me money. Of course, it's important to have your marketing and branding done well. Of course, it's important for accounting to be done well. And many times as new entrepreneurs, we feel like we don't have money to allocate for that. But the truth is you can't afford not to. It takes a team to build a successful entrepreneur and to build a successful business. The more time that you take away from the things that make you money, the less revenue you'll have and the harder it will be for your business to be successful. So delegation is key.
Wow. You mentioned that phenomenal word, revenue. So sales is the avenue to more revenue?
Yes, yes. So ultimately, of course, the goal for for entrepreneurs, it might not be the main goal, but it has to be a goal, is to increase your revenue. And the way that you do that, as I mentioned, is, you have to be great at your craft. You have to continue to educate yourself. You have to understand marketing. I'm not saying that, you shouldn't understand accounting or you shouldn't understand marketing. You should understand all of those and have your hands in it. But as far as spending most of your time trying to figure it out instead of doing what makes you money and brings in the money, that can be a hurdle for some entrepreneurs. But yes, absolutely, revenue is important. Even if it's not number one as an entrepreneur, it has to be there, because there's no way that you can do what you love to do if you can't financially support yourself and your business.
You just mentioned that powerful word, marketing. Can you explain to the listeners, what is your definition of marketing, and what does marketing mean to you?
Absolutely. So I have a unique definition of marketing, but it's simple. My definition of marketing is getting people to do what you want them to do. That, to me, is marketing. And so when we have businesses, we may want, and it depends, you might not want everyone to buy your product or service. You may just want them to listen to a video or download your free ebook or come to an event that you're hosting. Marketing, to me, is all about getting people to do what you want them to do. Now, ultimately, that's not deceptive, because the way that you get people to do what you want to do is by truly being genuine in the ways that you're serving them. So make sure that whatever that you're putting in front of your audience is something that's going to benefit their lives, and you're serving them and helping them to reach their goals and helping to alleviate the challenges that they're seeing in life. Because essentially any great business has to be solution-oriented. So when you're marketing, you have to know what your target audience is, which is the ideal person or client that needs what you have. And you have to figure out a way to speak to that person, figure out what that person needs, what would make that person's life much easier, that they're willing to pay for that service or pay attention to you or give you their email address, contact information. So what does that person need? And how can you provide them with what you need to get them to do what you want them to do in order to help your business grow? So it's really symbiotic.
So would you say that marketing done right is the quickest path to the sale?
Marketing done right is the quickest path to the sale. You know what? Marketing is key. In any business, it's key. I'm not sure if it's the quickest path, because I truly believe that your heart has to be pure in what you're doing, and it has to be genuine in serving the people that you serve. So marketing, yes, if marketing is done right, and to me being done right is being genuine in the product or service and the solution that you are providing. So yes, if you are genuine in your marketing, then people, will buy into what you're selling and buy into you as a person and what you're providing. People can see through. People can definitely see through whether someone's being genuine or not. So yeah, just be very genuine in your marketing and talk to people. Meet them where they are. That's the best way to get across to them.
So once people like you, respect you, and trust you, that's when their minds are made up and they want to invest in you because you are the brand?
Yes, pretty much. That is very true. And I'll give you a little story. Even for my law firm, I'm looking to expand my law firm, get a couple of associates over the next couple years. But one thing that I'm battling with is that I have been building my personal brand as an attorney, entrepreneurship, entertainment, branding, all of that. And so when people call my firm, they want to work with me, So make sure that you are building a brand where people know, like you said, know, like, and trust you. Of course, I think that can be a little obstacle. You have to be strategic in how you play that out, because if you get more employees or associates and different things like that for your business, people that reach out to you may want to work with you directly, which is always great. It's always flattering. But in order to grow your business, there has to be more people involved.
So your brand is your promise?
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Your brand is something that you have to ultimately protect. Without a brand, it's going to be very hard to build your business. And with a brand, you won't even have to say much, because if people see your name, or if they see your logo, or even it could even be the colors that represent your business, that is going to speak to something in that consumer's mind that tells them about the quality of your product or service. So the stronger your brand is, the more the more reliability you can have for your business and your consumers, and the more that they'll trust you. So yes, branding is key, making sure that it's consistent. You cannot have a brand if it's not consistent. So on all your social media, it should be the same logo, it should be the same type of tone, the same colors and different things like that. Make sure everything for your brand is consistent, because that's the way that it can be built to be strong and trusted.
So your brand is basically an outside-the-box promise that is being delivered.
Mm-hmm. So your brand is your reputation. Is what do people think, feel, and say about you or your business? That is your brand. So if they think, feel, and say nothing, then you don't have a brand. Or your brand might be, I don't know, inconsistency, which is not good for any business. So yes, your brand is ultimately your reputation, what people think about you, what people feel when they see you, when they hear you, when they see your logo, when they see your name. Experience. A brand is an experience. When you go to a certain restaurant, you know the type of experience you're going to get at McDonald's versus a 5-star restaurant. It's their brand. So yes, and every business needs to have a consistent brand. It takes work, and it takes time as well. I started building my brand as a lawyer in my first year of law school. I started a website, I started a blog, and I started blogging about different legal topics so that people would see me as a lawyer. So I'd take the most popular topics that was in the newspaper or in magazines or on TV, whatever it might be, in entertainment and in business, and I would write my opinions about them. Of course, it wasn't legal advice because I wasn't a lawyer at that time, but people online would constantly see me pushing out information about entertainment law, pushing out information about entrepreneurship law, to the point where I had people asking to be clients before I was even a lawyer. So think about it. For those 3 years that I was in law school, people were seeing from me all entertainment law, all entrepreneurship and business law, I was putting out all of that. So by the time I started my firm, even though it was my first year, people thought that I was doing this for the past 4 years. And so you have to be very strategic in building your brand, and it takes a plan. You know, it really does take a plan.
You are experiencing a life-changing, powerful interview, and you are hearing it first from Arthur Robinson Jr.'s PowerfulInterviews.com.
Dana, explain to the listeners, what is the best advice that you have ever received?
The best advice that I have ever received? Oh, I would say not to worry. I work so hard to not worry, because you have to preserve your mindset. Your mind, and I'll speak on this again and probably even more throughout, this interview about your mindset, because I really feel like that is my most powerful tool. So when things happen in your business that normal people would worry about, you have to just train your mind not to worry about it and just to handle it. And I'll give you a scenario that happened to me. So I'm an entrepreneur. I work from my office sometimes. Sometimes I work from home. Sometimes I work at the state bar. Sometimes I work by the lake. Sometimes I work by the coffee house, whatever it is. But ultimately, my business lives in my laptop. So I have a lot of, I have software on my laptop that holds my files. I have a lot of different systems that I use, but my laptop is like my business best friend. And so one day I wake up and my screen on my laptop is just completely broken. I don't know how that happened. It wasn't cracked, but something in the software in the system was not working where I couldn't see my screen. Now, normally, any entrepreneur or person would be completely freaked out about that, worrying about it, what's going to happen? What are my clients going to think? What if, I have to dish out another $1,200 to get a new computer? What if I lose my files? There's all this what if. But that piece of advice that I received was not to worry. And so I constantly do my best to remember that. So what I did is I did not let that faze me at all. And sometimes it takes a second for you to get that in your mind, for it to not faze you, because I know no matter what, it is going to work out. That situation with my laptop was not going to be the end of my business. That wasn't going to take away my law degree. It wasn't going to make me have to go out and start applying to jobs. I just had to handle that situation and not worry. So because of that mindset, throughout those 2 days, and it was only 2 days that I was without my laptop, throughout those 2 days, I wasn't worried. I wasn't stressed because I knew it was going to work out. Turned out that I took it to the store. They were able to fix it. I didn't have to spend a dime, and I had it delivered to my house in 48 hours. So imagine if I had worried for those 2 days, or even when it happened, about what kind of impact this was going to have. That would have been unnecessary stress for me as an entrepreneur. We already have to deal with so much. So making sure that your mind is right, not worrying about things that might seem so big, but knowing that it's not going to take away your business from you, and no matter what, you're going to do what you have to do to make sure that you're successful. I mean, that was something from a piece of advice that has worked for me over and over again. So that's
Dana, I appreciate you coming on my show today, because the whole premise of my show is to educate entrepreneurs and business owners on a worldwide scale that they can actually live the good life, but they have to be open to these important principles. So I don't like what I see what's on the news, so I create my own news.
That's smart.
Dana, let's talk about video. Now, I know a couple of years ago, Google bought YouTube for $1.6 billion, so video is hot right now. Can you explain to the listeners the power of using video, and should entrepreneurs and business owners use video to expand their brand?
Yes, absolutely, and this goes back to what we were saying about people buy into you. So when you're an entrepreneur, most times we're starting out on our own, and we're building from there. But in this day and age, everything is at the fingertips of consumers. They have access to everything. And they want to know who they're working with, because nowadays it's so easy to see who owns this business or what they're about. You can look on Instagram, on Facebook, and video is a quick, fast, and easy way for people to get the information that they need, not only about you, but also about your business. And so video is also a great way to expose your audience to what you offer. So it's sometimes it's hard for people to get people to read a book or an article, even though it has great information. But a 1 to 5 minute video can be something quick that will show your potential clients or potential customers or your audience, what your value is, what you're offering, and why they should pay attention to it and buy into you. So videos are so important. They can live on YouTube. They can live on your website. They can be, nowadays, at Facebook Live. You can show right now everything that you're doing. So show people what you're doing. Get them into you. People really want to know. And it also just makes them more comfortable with working with you if they can see who they're actually working with.
Wow. Now, a couple weeks ago, I seen a phenomenal video that you did. And you was breaking down layman's terms to the YouTube viewers about ownership of your logo. And you basically was saying who creates your logo, they own the copyright to your logo. Can you explain to the listeners about that process?
Absolutely. So I'll talk about copyright first. So copyright is actually granted in the Constitution of the United States, so it's something very serious. And copyright protects original works of authorship that are fixed in a tangible medium. And what that means is that copyright protects works of art, that it has to be attached to something that you can touch. So you cannot copyright an idea, because an idea is not attached to anything you can touch. But you can copyright, if you write a a story, or if you write a script or a poem, you can touch the paper that it's written down on. If you make a video, you can touch, the system, the camera or something that it's in. If it's a photo, you can touch the photo. If it's a recording, it's in the recorder. So it has to be an original work of authorship, original to you, that is fixed in a tangible medium. So when the person who creates the work of art is the person who owns it. So it does not matter. It does not matter if you paid them $1, if you paid them $1 million. They are still the ones that own it unless there's something in writing that says otherwise. So actually there's two ways. So I'll say for one, when it comes to logos for business owners, of course having a logo is important. But most of us, someone who is skilled in graphic design, or you might have a friend that's, a great drawer, so you ask them to create a logo for you, and you give them some money for it. They give you the logo, and that's the last time you ever talk about it. That gets kind of dangerous because they still own that image, whatever they created for you. So even though you paid them, they still own the image. The only way at that point, for you to own it is to have what's called a copyright assignment agreement. And what's in a copyright assignment agreement, and it's not an intimidating agreement. It's usually maybe 2 to 3 pages long, or 1 to 3 pages long, and it states that all the rights in copyright, any kind of rights, will be granted to you as the business owner. So, for example, if someone copied that logo without a copyright assignment agreement, you would not have the ability to sue that person that copied your logo because you don't even own it. So that copyright assignment agreement is going to grant you all the rights that you need to fully own the logo, to register your copyright in the logo, and to protect it as you need to. Now, there's one other way that you can own your logo if you don't create it. That's if it's created by someone, for example, in their normal course. If they're an employee for you and creating logos is what they do, so for example, they're in the marketing department of your business, or they're someone that you're partnered with for marketing, then you own the logo. So if they're your employee. So if it's in the normal scope of their business, if their business is creating, or their position is creating logos for your business, then you don't need anything in writing, you own it. But unless, you have that copyright assignment agreement, someone else owns your logo. You only have a license to it. If someone creates it for you, you have a license to it, which means you can use it, but you don't own it.
Wow. So basically, when entrepreneurs...